and welcome back to EFD, where today we'll be taking a look at some of your suggestions for the 10 worst teams to have conquered Europe's elite competition. Prepare to get angry. 10. Bayern 1975. A final remembered more for the aftermath rather than the game itself, as Leeds supporters rioted post-match and gained a 2-year ban from the European competition. The pinnacle of Leeds United's glory years was ended by a Bayern Munich side who boasted Sepp Maier, Franz Beckenbauer and Gerd Müller in their ranks. In the final itself, Leeds had 2 penalty claims denied by the ref and a goal disallowed in the 62nd minute before Bayern scored 2 late goals to win them the tie. But it was Bayern's domestic campaign that's landed them a place on this list. For all their efforts in Europe, they ended the Bundesliga in 10th, the worst league position for European champions at the time, and a record that stood until our next entry. 9. Aston Villa. Yes, it's Aston Villa, the biggest surprise winners on this list, who beat Bayern 1-0 to lift the cup and inherit the award for European champions with the worst domestic performance, as they finished 11th. Yes, 11th. The German side were favourites to say the least, with the star forward and 2-time European Footballer of the Year Karl-Heinz Rummenigge at the helm, as they couldn't score and Villa edged them 1-0, making it 6 years in a row that an English team had won the trophy. The two sides diverged drastically as the Germans went on to win Europe's top trophy the following year, and Villa were relegated from the First Division 5 years later. 8. Inter 1965. As of 2018, Inter's 1965 European Cup was the last to be won by a team in their home stadium. This was the Nerazzurri's second successive cup win, but like many others on this 10, maybe they shouldn't have been there in the first place. In the semi-finals, the Italian side faced Liverpool. The first leg came just 3 days after they'd won the FA Cup, which they triumphed 3-1. And going into the second leg, things looked set for Bill Shankly's side to progress. The referee's decisions that night were questionable at best, allowing Inter to score directly from an indirect free kick, Pirlo to steal the ball from Liverpool keeper Lawrence illegally and score, and to disallow a perfectly legitimate Liverpool goal. Although the Spanish referee was never charged with any crime, the fixture did occur during the systematic match fixing in Italy, with Inter being one of those teams caught up in the scandal. 7. Red Star Belgrade 1991. The penultimate European Cup winners before the Champions League rebrand, Red Star Belgrade managed to be the benefactors of the most boring final of all time. In an era dominated by AC Milan, who had won the previous 2 competitions, it was going to take one hell of a team to tumble the Titans. Along came Marseille, who booted the Rossoneri out their way and into the final, where they met Red Star. Knowing the challenge ahead, the Yugoslavian team headed to the stadium a week early and isolated themselves. No phone calls, no wives or girlfriends, all they could do is be fully focused on the game. Although this did work, the team were definitely fully focused, but they were only focused on defending. Red Star's lack of attack in the final led to a drab 0-0, which they eventually won on penalties. Mihajlovic recalls questioning the manager's tactics pre-game, and when asked what they were to do with possession, the response was, when you get the ball, give it back to them. Genius. 6. Dortmund 97. Zydrad Wilt suggests Dortmund 1997, so blame him. The Dortmund faithful probably couldn't believe their eyes when the final whistle blew. In a campaign that had started badly with a 3-0 thumping by Stal Bucharest in the group stages, things looked set to go from bad to worse when they faced Juventus, that not only contained the likes of Zidane, Deschamps and Vieri, but absolutely battered Dortmund 6-1 in the previous UEFA Cup final. To be fair to Dortmund, they had a game plan and it worked. They stifled Zidane by some extremely close man marking from current Stoke manager Paul Lambert, and 2 goals from set pieces had them 2 up at the break. But realistically, they had no right to win the game. Juventus had a squad brimming with talent, but just couldn't perform, showing just how integral Zizou was. 5. Barcelona 2009. Stu Lovebock has our next suggestion, and he thinks Barcelona's 2009 triumph is one marred with luck. Putting Pep Guardiola's Barcelona in this list is extremely controversial and mad. The side only lost 1 game in their journey to becoming European champions, but there's a particular match that spoiled a nearly flawless run to the final. We all know about UEFA Barcelona's extremely dodgy dispatching of Chelsea in the semi-finals. The many poor refereeing decisions, including 4 penalty claims that led to Didier Drogba's post-match meltdown, tarnished not only Chelsea's Champions League claims for a second year in a row, but the career of referee Tom Henning-Overbo. The 45-year-old wasn't selected for the following World Cup and retired as a result, and is still getting abuse years after the game. 4. Porto 2004. Buffon the legend brings us the next one. A treble year that put Jose Mourinho on the map, this Porto team had by far the easiest opponents in the final. A Monaco side who were just 1 point away from not reaching the knockouts and won their round of 16 and quarter-final games on away goals. But Porto's road to the final wasn't plain sailing either. In their final round of 16 game against heavy favourites Manchester United, they needed a last-minute equaliser at Old Trafford to put them in front of the tie. This came almost immediately after Paul Scholes had a goal wrongly disallowed that would have taken the game to extra time. Mourinho's park-the-bus, counter-attacking, ugly football also saw them progress through to the semis in an unattractive fashion, beating a dominant Deportivo La Coruña 1-0 over 2 legs. The final against an inexperienced Monaco side was perfect for Mourinho, who dispatched his game plan to a T. But as we all know with the special one, it doesn't matter how ugly his brand of football is, as long as he wins. 3. Liverpool 2005. Okar Gellerbroek brings us the next one, and it's another controversial one. Liverpool's domestic season that year was nothing to shout about. They finished 5th in the Premier League, and without Europe it would have been yet another disappointing campaign. Everyone knows about that night in Istanbul and the miracle comeback. But the real miracle was getting to the final in the first place. They started their Champions League journey in the 3rd qualifying at the Arnold Schwarzenegger Stadium against Austrian side Graz AK. And no, we haven't made that up, where they went to win 2-1 on aggregate. Following that, they just scraped out of their group on goal difference ahead of Olympiacos. While runners-up Milan boasted the likes of Shevchenko, Kaka and Pirlo, to name a few, Liverpool started players like Traoré and Kuhl. An uninspiring starting 11 who managed to, in just 6 minutes, change the tie, take it to penalties and win. Although this game is regarded as the most entertaining Champions League final of all time, the only reason is because of Liverpool's David and Goliath challenge. 2. Chelsea 2012. Many of you suggested this one, and we definitely see why. A team that, after using up all their luck in the knockout stages, still had 1 drop left in the final to become the first London team to lift the Big Ear trophy. Chelsea's overly defensive structure is no surprise to anyone by now, but the Blues couldn't even manage a decent defence throughout their triumph. In the knockout stages of the competition, Chelsea conceded 7 goals, whilst Bayern fought 3 of those to Real Madrid. In the game itself, the German outfit peppered the West London club with 35 shots to a measly 9, but still managed to scrape through in extra time, in which Robin had a penalty saved by Cech, whose heroics helped Chelsea win the subsequent shootout, despite Juan Mata missing the very first penalty. But after UEFA and United 2008, I don't really think any of their fans care. 1. Marseille 1993. The first ever Champions League and the one and only time a French side has won Europe's top competition. With a team containing Fabien Barthez, Marcel Desailly and Didier Deschamps, they beat a Milan side who were at the peak of their powers. How could this be the worst team to win a Champions League? That year, the French side had their league title stripped away after owner Bernard Tapie was found guilty of fixing their league game against Valenciennes, which both secured the Ligue 1 title and allowed them to keep players fresh for the final against Milan, which they won 1-0. Not only did this directly affect the final itself, but allegations surfaced later for further tampering. Jean-Jacques Idely, who among others served jail time for his part in the scandal, said that the players were given injections before the final. Mark Hatterley, a striker for Rangers, claimed that he received a phone call asking him not to play. Despite Bernard Tapie's conviction and further revelations of their Champions League venture that year, UEFA still continued to hold them as the champions of Europe in '93. Thank you for watching. That was our top 10 worst teams to have conquered Europe. And if you liked them, let me know. If we missed anyone out, let me know as well, but we didn't make them all up, so blame yourselves. And why don't you check out Zach and Mikey on Football Monday Out? And don't forget to like and subscribe. I want a yogurt.